Some detractors that will push back on me and say, the only thing that the mayor talks about is the hiring of black people. No, what I'm saying is when you hire our people, we always look out for everybody else. We are the most generous people on the planet. I don't know too many cultures that have play cousins. That's how generous we are. We just make somebody a family member, right? That's just how we are. And so business and economic neighborhood development, the deputy mayor is a black woman. Department of Planning and Development is a black woman. Infrastructure deputy mayor is a black woman. Chief operations officer is a black man. Budget director is a black woman. Senior advisor is a black man.
Let's keep in mind why they're doing this. We talk about it all the time. You guys talk about it all the time. It's for intimidation. It is to intimidate the president's critics into staying silent. And when you see ridiculous things like that in Chicago, folks can't help but rise up and speak out. I mean, people beyond Rev, like people who would normally not get involved in situations like this. The mayor of Chicago is showing the people of Chicago that he has a government that looks like their city.
Right.
That's all he's doing. And what's also equally what's offensive about why they're opening this investigation. So because these officials are black, they are not qualified to be in those positions?
And that is criminal. I mean, to act like it's criminal to make sure that everyone has representation is a threat to everyone. I talked to some ministers in Chicago last night that are not socially involved, that are outraged at this. I mean, what are you saying? He's not saying that we did this at the expense of others. He's showing pride.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, it seems that the Chicago conehead, the blackity black mayor himself, Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, has found himself in a little bit of trouble. Not just any trouble, but trouble with the Department of Justice. Yeah, that's right. Seems like they are investigating the mayor because he's been bumping his gums out into the public, being braggadocious, if you will, talking about all the blackity black hires that he's making in the city. And as you saw in that opening clip, when he describes the people that he's brought on board, he doesn't say anything about the schools they went to. He doesn't say anything about their background or who they worked for, or where they gained their experience in the past. No, he highlights one aspect of their qualifications, that they're black. And some of his supporters are saying, well, he's just making the city government look like the city of Chicago. It is reflective of Chicago culture. Well, last time I checked, Chicago was about 36% whitey white and less than 30% blackity black. And even with those numbers, Chicago is not unfamiliar with a blackity black mayor. Y'all remember one Lori Lightfoot? Didn't have a problem with her. It seems like, if I remember correctly, she never ran into issues like this. Although, to be fair, she was probably concerned more so with the colors of the rainbow than the color black. Y'all, let's get into this story and see what's going on in Chicago as Mayor Brandon Johnson faces the heat from a discrimination investigation by Donald Trump's Department of Justice.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is fighting back against the Department of Justice investigation today.
The mayor unapologetic about the city's hiring practices, despite DOJ claims that they might show a pattern of racial discrimination. Political reporter Paris Schutz has the latest on this. Paris?
Yes, Sylvia and Terrence, not only unapologetic, but Mayor Johnson turning the tables today on Trump and the DOJ, one day after the Department of Justice announced its civil rights investigation into the city's hiring practices. The mayor says, before you accuse me, take a look at yourself.
The mayor says he's not surprised by the sudden investigation launched by the DOJ, just one day after comments he made at a Southside church. Johnson says the Trump administration ought to look in the mirror.
You would be hard-pressed to find qualified individuals who are in his administration. As my administration reflects the country, it reflects the city. His administration reflects the country club.
Johnson made the initial comments during a Sunday conversation with Southside pastor Byron Brazier, commending himself for hiring African Americans to top city positions.
Having people in my administration that will look out for the interest of everyone, and everyone means you have to look out for the interests of Black folks, because that hasn't happened. That's how we ensure long-term sustainable growth.
Today, the mayor touted the diversity of his administration, where 34% of the hires are Black, 30% white, and 24% Latino.
The incredible diverse talent that we have within our administration that continues to lead us towards the safest, most affordable big city in America. We're not going to shy away or apologize for who we are.
IIT Kent College of Law professor Harold Krent says the mayor's comments don't provide much of a case for the DOJ, unless they can prove the mayor failed to hire more qualified people based on race.
The Department of Justice, to win, would ultimately have to determine that there was a pattern and practice of illegal discrimination in terms of hiring for positions within the city. I don't think they have close to that information now. If they get it, that's a different situation.
And an investigation like this could lead to a consent decree where a federal monitor would police the hiring practices. And Sylvia, I want to update you on one story you talked about. They did just vote in the Public Safety Committee here to pass Alderman Hopkins' curfew ordinance. So as you mentioned, that's going to be taken up tomorrow, barring any political maneuvers at the last minute at the full city council meeting. And we're reporting live from City Hall. Parachutes. Sylvia.
Did y'all see that argumentative judo he tried to pull on the Trump administration? Saying, hey, you pointing a finger at me, but you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. Look at your administration. Ain't no blackity blacks over there. You got one in charge of HUD. You put him out in front of Fox News to do a couple of interviews, and then you tucked him away. He ain't about to do nothing. And the blackity blacks don't expect him to do nothing. We haven't seen anything from HUD in generations. But we understand what is going on in the Trump administration. Yeah, whitey whites everywhere, but you got to understand how Donald Trump gets down. Donald Trump is an elitist. He's not a racist. If you're a black billionaire, yes, you could get a meeting with Donald Trump. You always could. Donald Trump used to be friends with all the rich black muckety mucks. Never had a problem getting access. It's the black brokies that he don't want to see, that he don't want to fool with. And when you look around at his cabinet, you see, oh, he's bringing in his friends. See, you want to say he ain't bringing in no blacks. Well, you got to look at it a different way. He's not bringing in blacks because he's bringing in his homies, and his homies just so happen to not be black. Oh, I got a friend who can do this. Oh, I got a billionaire homie who can do this. Oh, I play golf with a guy who can do this. I'm going to bring them all in. Oh, I watch Fox News. Ain't many blackity blacks over there, but I like how they get down. Let's bring in a Fox anchor to run this department because I like how they talk on TV. Y'all got to look at it from a different perspective. And I know Brandon Johnson is being a bit rebellious. I know he wants to be the anti-Trump, but the truth of the matter is black folk in Chicago ain't happy with Brandon Johnson either. Don't matter how many blackity blacks he bring into City Hall, the black residents of Chicago are not pleased with his policies. You know why? Because as he raised their taxes in the city, he gives all their tax money to illegal aliens as they suffer, as crime holds steady or increases. Nothing is being done for the blackity blacks in Chicago, but he wants to be symbolic. He wants to give you some good imagery that you can cling to. That's why he went on down to the blackity black church to make an announcement, to make a public appearance, because he know that's where y'all locked in, right? If I go to the blackity black church, then I don't have to deal with y'all because I just buy off your pastors. I just pick off your pastors one by one, and they'll deal with y'all. How many times have we seen this playbook? Well, it's unfortunate that it would come from the Conehead mayor himself as he presents himself as a rebellious figure in the eyes of the Trump administration, who is now investigating him and going to run him through the ringer. It's what happened when you talk too much and you talk yourself into a situation. You could have just hired who you wanted to hire and said nothing. But you wanted to be a symbolic figure. You wanted to fight the power. You wanted people to recognize you as doing something for the blackity blacks in the city. Well, this ain't how you do it. That's how you do it for a select few, the blackity black elite, the boule class. But last I checked, that ain't what Chicago was really about on a ground level. Who you impressing, sir? Because it appears to me that you have not impressed the Department of Justice.
Mayor Johnson.
Yeah.
Please turn the mic on. Thank you. Real Chicagoans woke up this morning relieved that the Department of Justice is finally investigating your race hustle. As someone who grew up on the south side of Chicago, I've heard a lot of race hustlers in my life, trust me, but they were usually marching around outside of City Hall, which is what makes this so embarrassing and dangerous. Very, very dangerous to the city of Chicago.
Okay, we need the question.
I'm more than happy to ask this question. It's long overdue. For over a year, real Chicagoans, white and black, have been telling me that your black power rhetoric is bringing the city backwards from a place that
we need the question.
Had overcome. You want the question?
Please.
Real Chicagoans want to know, why are you a racist?
Well, first of all, I reject the idea and the premise that somehow that's an actual legitimate question.
Want that?
All right, we're going to go to the next one. Alice?
The next question, my follow-up question is a businessman, Robert Gomez, had his riverfront restaurant license yanked. You said that the reason you hire black people is because they're the most generous race on the planet. His riverfront restaurant license was yanked and given to a black restaurateur. That has, once again, reinforced the belief among real Chicagoans, white and black and Mexican, that you are a racist. What do you say to those people?
Again, I reject the premise that somehow that your question has any legitimacy. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. We'll go to Alice.
Thank you.
Now, after just 3 operating seasons, the owners of Beat Kitchen on the Riverwalk claim that the city has decided not to renew their contract. Jorge De Santiago from our sister station Telemundo joining us live tonight on what's at stake here and what the city is saying. Jorge?
Hey there, Alice, and today marks the deadline to submit new proposals for Riverwalk vendors, but the owners of Big Kitchen on the Riverwalk say their future has already been decided. While many of the vendors in this area are getting ready to reopen, they claim they have been left out. For 3 seasons, Big Kitchen on the Riverwalk served food, drinks, and city views to thousands of visitors. Now, owners say they're being forced to pack up and walk away, despite investing their money, time, and hard work.
Wow, what it meant for me. This is the most beautiful patio, and we created it. There was nothing in here.
Beat Kitchen operated under a 5-year contract, but owners say 2 of those years were lost to COVID-19 shutdowns. Since reopening, they've hired about 50 employees each season, operating April through November.
The City of Chicago's vendor selection practices are in need of a major overhaul.
So what was here when you guys first got here?
There was completely nothing here. This used to be a security office, and we were expected to turn this into a restaurant, something that would pass code.
What are you guys allowed to take? Are you guys going to be able to take the walk-in coolers?
No, absolutely. Nothing that you can see a screw onto a wall can be taken out.
According to city documents, the Riverwalk concession process is open to all vendors, with a focus on attracting minority and women-owned businesses. We reached out to City Hall and Mayor Brandon Johnson's office to ask why Beat Kitchen wasn't invited back. Here's their response.
I do know that there are a lot of conversations that are being had, not around just this issue, but businesses in general. We're happy to make sure that the person that leads this for me gets a response to you.
While the city promotes the Riverwalk as a space for all Chicagoans, the owners of Beat Kitchen say they're still waiting for answers.
Oh, I guess not knowing why. Why are we being replaced? Everybody else has been renewed, and we're the only Latinos.
By the way, the owners of Big Kitchen say they are not giving up and they plan to push back, and they want answers because they feel they deserve it and their employees deserve that too. on the Riverwalk, Jorge de Santiago, NBC5 News. Now back to you guys in studio.
And there you have it, y'all. What do you think about Brandon Johnson calling himself going to even things out, going to balance things out in the city of Chicago by hiring more blackity blacks? Oh yeah, that'll fix it. That'll fix your budget problem. That'll fix your spending problem. That'll fix your crime problem. We just go hire more blackity blacks at City Hall. Doesn't sound like a winning formula to me. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this as the Conehead mayor. Makes things worse. We didn't think after Lori Lightfoot it could get worse, but the people of Chicago sure did do it. They voted in worse. And some people would say, you get what you vote for. If you want different, vote different. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, y'all. I'd love to know your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.